Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the MegaMart Shopping Show. Today I have a gorgeous co-host.
Thank you.
Mrs. Renee Williams-Dawson is here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. We're both in pink because it's Pinktober.
Right.
We're celebrating Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we're going to be sharing some facts.
And some myths.
We're going to be looking at some statistics. That apply to Jamaica and all over the world.
Right. It's a very, very much needed conversation. So we're going to be speaking with the expert today.
We won't give it away just yet, but I'm sure you're going to learn a lot. And we're going to have fun talking about something very important, but we hope at the end of the show, you'll be probably more empowered to do what you need to do.
Indeed.
So stay tuned. Breast cancer is the most prevalent cancer in the world. In 2020, 20.3 million women were diagnosed. And here in Jamaica, 1,208 women were diagnosed in 2020.
Right. And with such a high prevalence rate, there is a possibility that you know someone who has been diagnosed with breast cancer, maybe a family member, a friend, co-worker, and the list goes on.
Yeah. So here at MegaMart, we're always happy to play our part with sharing facts, maybe debunking any myths you may have heard. Just really doing our best to carry the experts, to share relevant information, making it more comfortable to speak about something that you may be anxious or scared to talk about.
Right. And with that said, today we are joined by Dr. Sara Lawrence-Lewis, who is an obstetrician and gynecologist at Charis Women's Wellness and Maternity Center.
That's right.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me, ladies. I'm really excited.
It's a pleasure having you. Gorgeous, love the dress.
Yes, we're all here.
That's right.
Pinktober.
That's right.
So we're just gonna jump into it. One of the most basic but important tips that we often hear is to practice a routine self-examination. What is a self-examination and what should we really be looking out for?
All right, so the self-exam is really one of those things that we as obstetricians, as a matter of fact, all doctors really promote because nobody will know your breast like you would know it.
Absolutely.
The consistency, how it looks, what is normal, what is abnormal. So setting the tone with a self-breast exam really just makes you intimately aware of what is your norm. So any deviation from the norm, you will pick it up first and seek medical attention. The fact is really that it doesn't stop you from getting breast cancer. However, if you are unfortunate enough to have to be faced with this diagnosis, you have the benefit of picking it up early so that you can intervene early and it will have ramifications on how it plays out and your prognosis.
So how do you actually do the self-exam?
All right, so there are many ways to do the breast self-exam. There's one way that I promote doing it, and that's in the shower.
Okay.
But the first thing I'd say about it is that you should do it the same time every month, right? So I would say probably think about the week after your period because the density and the consistency of your breast will change as the hormones of your menstrual cycle fluctuate. So after the period, that upcoming week, just take a time and do your exam. You can do it in the shower. Use the pads of your fingers and you kind of just move in a circular motion, the outer quadrants and the inner quadrants. That's so you just kind of split the breast in four and move in a circular motion, maybe even with some soap on your fingertips so you can just feel if there are any irregularities deep. I'd also advise you to go underneath the arm because breast tissue actually extends up under the arm. So you should feel under there and just move around the areas, both sides. Another thing you can do is just look at the breast in the mirror, stand up and look. Right? And you would now see if there's any asymmetry. Everybody has a natural asymmetry, but things start to get a little off. You say, no man, you will pick up on it just by looking. And you don't have to be able to say, no, this one is tilting more. No, from you see any irregularity, just make the doctor take it from there. And also you go and you just kind of tense up a little, the pectoral muscles, and you will see if there's any abnormalities there. You go ahead and seek some medical attention.
Or maybe any differences with the nipples or texture.
So with the breast exam, we're presuming at this point that you're not seeing anything overtly wrong. You're going seeking if there's any mass.
Understood.
However, if there's any difference in color, the texture of the skin, if it's flaking, if there's any scaling, if the nipples, if there's any discharge. And as a matter of fact, a part of the breast exam is to try and elicit a discharge. If you have any discharge that's bloody or even milky outside of lactating, you may just want to see your doctor.
How easy is it to actually feel a lump? Because I was reading a study that the median number or size of the mass when persons actually go in and get the mammograms done, it's around 3 centimeters, a little bit over 3 centimeters,
Right.
and that is about over an inch. So how easy it is to actually feel a mass over an inch
The
wide.
thing is, it really depends on the breast tissue that
Yeah.
we're working with. Some people don't have very dense or very much tissue. So if you have smaller breasts with the tissue is not very dense, you'll pick up a mass definitely way
Easily.
below an inch. But
Right.
if you have a lot of breast tissue and you have what we call fibrocystic type of breast that is very often, you see it very prevalent in our population, the mass could be obscured in the midst of these changes. So that is why, though we promote the self-exam, there's a triad of screening, right? The self-exam is one because you can do that every month. It's a continuous evaluation that's happening. You don't have to go to a doctor to do it. All you need to do is stand up and test yourself. But in addition to that, you need to have your clinical examination, and that's usually done by your doctor.
Okay.
The obstetrician and gynecologist as a part of your well-woman visit, or your GP, whatever it is, just have that test done annually. So you have the monthly test that you do, the annual test that the doctor does, and to supplement that all, we will add a mammogram. If you're in an appropriate age group or risk group, you're stratified, and you do your annual checks with your mammogram as well, which is an
Okay.
imaging modality, which I'm sure we'll speak about
Yes.
as well.
Right. So speaking about risk group,
Right.
we are told that we need to be able to identify our risk factors. Firstly, what is a risk factor, and what are some of the common risk factors for breast cancer?
All right, so basically, a risk factor is anything that increases the chance of getting a particular disease.
Okay.
So that's just basic. Risk factors as it pertains to breast cancer, there are modifiable and non-modifiable risk factors. So that being said, there are some risk factors that you can't do nothing about.
Those are the
Some of those,
non-modifiable.
your non-modifiable ones, your age.
Okay.
It is found that after 50, your chances of you getting breast cancer increases. You can't do nothing about it. You may try and do things about it, but you can't do nothing
So
about it.
we just exist.
Right.
And
So
are at risk.
as you get older,
Yeah.
your risk increases.
Okay.
There are other non-modifiable things as your genetic predisposition for it.
Okay.
And that is something that we have studied very intensely as doctors and scientists.
Will that include, like, for example, BRCA1 and BRCA2?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And not only BRCA1, because BRCA1 and 2 are identified genes that are associated with it. But if you find that there's a significant family history of breast cancer, period, or ovarian cancer,
Okay.
we now know that as doctors we have to delve a little further. Do you have any first degree family relatives that have it? So is this a mother or a sister? And if it is that they had it, at what age they had it? So even though regular screening may start at 40, if you had a mother that had it at 35, we're going to start your screening at 25 because we're doing everything that we can, because we know that genetically you are predisposed to catch it early.
Okay.
Right? Some other non-modifiable ones is your reproductive history. So, and that doesn't mean if you get pregnant or not, 'cause that's modifiable. So we'll talk about that. But some people, so your menstrual cycle is run by hormones. And some people are exposed to hormones for a longer time. So say, for instance, if you get your period earlier and you reach menopause later, you are exposed to it on average longer than the average person would. And
Yeah.
that is just, you're born with that setup. That's nothing you can do about those things, right? So those are some of the non-modifiable things. But there are some modifiable things that you can do. Let's go back to the reproductive things. People who have children and start having them before 30, it breaks up that long period of being exposed to hormones, right? The pregnancy. Also, breastfeeding is one of those things that we find reduces your risk factors.
Okay.
Definitely for every single cancer, and just a healthy lifestyle overall, minimizing alcohol intake, smoking no good for nothing at all.
Period.
Period.
Yeah.
Things like that are things that you have to consider when it comes to the modifiable factors.
Right.
So from now, just cut out the smoking, minimize the alcohol, do whatever you have to do to find out your risk factors. Go to your doctor. Early intervention is key
Absolutely.
in breast cancer management.
Right.
So we spoke about the non-modifiable stuff, like when you see your period for the first time.
Right.
Usually it's at that age when you're recommended to see a gynecologist or start seeing one, or when you become sexually active. But in general, women are encouraged to have a good relationship with a gynecologist.
Yes.
For those viewers who may be watching and not so certain what a gynecologist does. Can you talk about that for a little?
Absolutely, and this is what I'm passionate about because out of all the subspecialties, this is the one I chose.
Yeah.
And gynecologists are all about women's health, in particular, women's reproductive health. So women, we're special, our superpower is our reproductive organs, or part of it, I presume. So that part of our anatomy we focus on as obstetricians and gynecologists. We make sure that once you start menstruating, you should start interfacing with your gynecologist to make sure when you're ready to expand your family or whatever it is in the future, you're in your best reproductive health. We also have under our portfolio all things concerning women's health. So when you go and you should do an annual well woman visit, you get your breast exam done at the same time, you get your pap smear done at the same time. And we're not just thinking about these things in isolation. We ask you about everything.
Yeah.
Your risk factors for diabetes, hypertension, everything like that. Literally, as women, we have so much on our plate. We deserve a subspecialty for our own, right?
I agree.
And someone that is just tailored
Dedicated
to making sure that they're their best health at all times. And that's what we are.
Awesome.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So then it's very important to have a good relationship with the gynecologist.
You know, not only that, but the subspecialty is so intimate.
Yeah.
You speak about things that are probably considered taboo sometimes, some things that are sensitive sometimes when it comes to sexually transmitted infections or when it comes to contraception or expanding your family. So the comfort has to be there.
Yeah.
It has to be there, and you need to make sure you have a gynecologist that's thorough and also relatable.
Yeah.
So, if anything happens, you can go to them.
Yeah.
I think, I love forums like this because it's demystifying the whole doctor thing. I have a wellness center because I want to see you when you're well, not when you're sick and pop down. I will take you when you're sick and pop down,
Love that.
Yes.
but I want you to see you when you're well so we can remain well. And if something happens, I'm going to make you back well so we can continue our wellness journey. But in our minds, we have this thing that, Lord, I go doctor, them will tell me bad news. No, I'm not going to do the mammogram because I don't want to hear about the cancer. No, I don't want to do the pap smear. That is a lie from the pits of hell. We want to find out if it has send it back and come to me so we can find out what's happening and fix it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So you had mentioned earlier that in order to get a mammogram done, it goes in stages. So you do your self-test, then you go to the clinician, and then they will tell you that or refer you to do the mammogram. Well,
it's not really stages. There are 3 parts, right?
3 parts.
So once you're over the age of 40, you can do your annual mammograms. That's a part of regular screening for women over 40.
Okay.
So we encourage you to still do your breast exam because in the interval between your yearly mammograms, you will still be continuing your checks.
Right.
We still encourage you to go to your doctor because she'll pick up on other things, and she will also probably know what to feel for in addition to what you are feeling for. So it's a 3-step process, but the actual mammogram is an excellent screening modality because it actually looks into the breast tissue and looks for the specific features of breast cancer. And as a matter of fact, the mammogram can pick it up way before we can even feel it. Right. So when you're feeling it, you know that it's a significant mass that is now macroscopic, right? And you can assess it and see it on ultrasound. The mammograms look for specific changes that are typical for a cancer. So you can pick it up before it's at any advanced stage at all.
Okay. So when I go in to get my mammogram done, what am I to expect?
All right, I like that question. All right, so for the mammogram, basically if you ever did an x-ray in your life or you know what an x-ray is, the mammogram is an x-ray of the breast. Now, if you did an x-ray of your chest, you'd stand up and they'd say, take a big breath and you do the x-ray. No, but the breast is in this plane, right?
Right.
So,
most persons?
Right, for most persons, this plane for some, but we can't get it back into this plane, right?
Right.
So, what we want to do, in order for the x-ray energy to permeate the actual breast tissue, we'd have to make sure that the plates are sandwiching the breast, right?
Okay.
So if you can have that image in your head, you kind of can envision what the process is like.
So there's a plate at the bottom,
plate
then
at the
your
top,
breast,
and then plate at the top, like a little breast sandwich.
Okay,
right?
breast sandwich.
But so you go in, you'd expect that you'd have to remove your clothing from the top up, right? You'll be in the room with someone, and then a radiographer would probably be on the other side. Now, the potential of this breast sandwich can be uncomfortable, and I think a lot of people run away from that. But you can share with the persons that, hey, this is a little bit much, and I can, make changes on the intensity. Things that you have to consider if you have breast implants in, or if you have very dense breasts. you may have to do a little bit more adjusting
Yeah.
of the plates and the positioning, and you may have to move a little bit to help. But pretty much it's probably about a 20-minute process. You go in, you get all the images of the breast, both breasts, and leaving that, you can be confident to know that if you get a clean bill of health, that you're good to go for the next year. Now, sometimes in most places, and actually majority of the places, they may accompany the mammogram with a breast ultrasound. And that's because, as I said before, fibrocystic changes are very, very prevalent in our population. So the density of the breast may obscure some of what you see.
Clearer
So
picture.
just to not even clear,
Or
just a
verify.
different modality. So when you put it together, you get a better picture. So sometimes if you go in and do your mammogram, don't be alarmed if they say, boy, we just going to do our ultrasound as
to
well.
make
Because
sure.
a lot of people start saying, Lord Jesus, let me see the cancer now, and them go and do. No, they just want to have a better picture of what's going on so they can report to the doctor.
Can we skip the mammogram and go straight into the breast ultrasound?
The ultrasound does not replace the mammogram in any way, shape, or form. It's an adjunct to the mammogram. There are sometimes that we skip the mammogram, say for instance in our pregnant population, where we say, okay, we don't want to expose them to the x-ray, let's go to the ultrasound, or we actually feel the mass very well. Let us go ahead and do the ultrasound and
Pinpoint.
guidedly get a piece of it, but you still will get a mammogram of the other side, because that is just a part of routine screening for breast cancer.
Okay.
Yes.
Got you.
How important is it to follow up? Because then going is one thing.
That goes without saying.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it. A lot of people are like, when I did a pap smear, I do a pap smear every year. What was the result? I don't know. They never called me, so I figured it was okay. No. You have to follow up. I mean, the onus is on us as doctors. When we get the results, we should be following up. But, don't put your health in the hands of someone that's holding many persons. It could be a simple error. It could be that it just wasn't sent over. And oftentimes we give you a form. You don't do the test.
Yeah.
So not seeing a report come in is not a red flag.
Yes.
However, you did the test. 2 weeks, 3 weeks pass, you don't hear
Just
anything.
prompt.
Give a call.
Yes.
Have a call and say, listen, I did my mammogram, I don't hear anything. I said, really, I don't see, come in, let me check on it. And then now we continue the discussion. Because having done it and don't know the results is just kind of like not doing it at all.
At the end of the day,
your
health is your responsibility.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So you had mentioned drinking alcohol and smoking cigarette as risk factors, but what are other lifestyle practices that we can do to probably help to minimize our risk?
All right, so as it pertains to lifestyle modifications, really and truly, it's hinged on wellness. I love that word, isn't it? Wellness, and just having a healthy lifestyle. So if you have a sedentary lifestyle, you're not working out, you're drinking alcohol, you're smoking, you're set up for cancer, period. Right? So one of the number one things you can do right now, start working out. You don't have to be this big gym buff that going all the time, but walk a little bit around the neighborhood. Do one of the things on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just start making good choices, healthy choices, and just stop smoking. I don't even know what can work in the smoking part. But there are other things that, you need to have a discussion with a gynecologist. Because a lot of people would read and they'd be like, oh, birth control pills put you at risk because of the same hormones. There are some people who shouldn't even be taking certain type of birth control pills because of their risk. Most people shouldn't be taking birth control pills after 45. Definitely close to menopause, those hormonal ones can give you a setup based on your family history. So one of the lifestyle modifications I will add in, but we probably wouldn't say anywhere, is going to your doctor. Have a lifestyle of wellness, a lifestyle of health-seeking behavior. So you and your doctor can partner up to make the best decisions for your health.
Agreed. Okay, so we wanted to play a quick game of myth or fact.
All right.
All right. I'm too young to get breast cancer.
Myth, lie. There's no age group. So I did mention that one of the risk factors is an increase in age. So yes, as you get older, your risk increases. However, there 30-year-olds, 20-odd-year-olds. I said before also, if you're young, like if you have a mother that had it at a young age, you can get it even younger.
Yeah.
Right? So don't think it's an old people disease. That being said, don't get too, be a hypochondriac and say, oh Lord, I think I have breast cancer. Let me do my mammogram starting now. No, partner with your doctor.
Yeah.
There's steps ahead of it. So that's a lie. You can get breast cancer. So a lump in your breast at any time, red flag, get it checked out.
Red flag.
Okay. Myth or fact? Men cannot get breast cancer.
Myth. Lie. From you have breast tissue, you can get breast cancer.
Okay.
Breast cancer is just abnormal cells of the breast. Men have breasts. They may not have as much breast as we do, but they have breasts. So they can have breast cancer as well.
Okay. Only women with a family history of breast cancer are at risk.
So this is a game your name, lie. I
just want to know.
No, you may be at increased risk.
Yes.
When you have a strong family history, but there are many random spurious cases of persons who would have no history at all in their family. So from you have breast, you are at risk. That's one of the risk factors. Breast. Right. Breast.
Okay. And I have never had children, so I can't get breast cancer.
Lie. As a matter of fact, if you were listening closely, you would realize that is actually a risk factor.
Right.
Because no, you would have lived a life not being given a break from the hormones of the menstrual cycle, and that is a clinical correlation to breast cancer. So you may even be at risk for having breast cancer.
Wow.
Okay,
It is
one
a
last
hard
one.
job being a woman.
Don't it? Alcohol or heavy drinking is linked to breast cancer.
One truth, thank you, Jesus. Yes, absolutely. And you should know this by now.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
So earlier you spoke about the Wellness Center,
Yes.
Charis Women's Wellness and Maternity Center.
Yes,
Talk to
ma'am.
us a little about that.
So literally, from I enter med school, from I enter the subspecialty, I just wanted a place for women, by women, right?
Yeah.
A place where you go, you feel good, it look good, it smell good, you feel good about going. When your birthday comes, you say, no, I need to go to the doctor and do my checkout.
Oh, make that a
that is
thing.
what, that is a thing.
That should
you
be
know
a
what I
thing.
mean? So that is literally what I conceptualized. And also as a woman that had a child throughout med school and my majority of my medical career and having a husband and everything, I know how much we put ourselves down on the priority list. So I wanted to elevate us and elevate our wellness and just have a space that if any at all you're faced with a problem, you can go and be sorted out there. And also interface with us in your stage of wellness so we can maintain that good state of good health.
Nice.
Okay, I love the passion that you speak with. Okay, so outside of obstetrics and gynecology, what other services are offered at Charis?
All right. So with the medical services, as you said, will cover the obstetrician and the gynecologist part, which is the gynecologist, which is the female reproductive health, and the obstetrics, which is taking care of you before baby, during baby, after baby. However, I found that in Jamaica, a little bit, there's a gap in the postnatal period, helping you with breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is not something that you just magically do and it automatically happens.
You don't
you
just know
need
how to do it.
lactation support, postnatal care. Sometimes you need a little relaxation, and we have a spa, a little mini spa there that just to take your time out and just specific techniques. You may not have a whole day to come and do a full Swedish, but you may need a foot rub or you may need something like that. And we also have a part of it, physical fitness. Because that is a part of complete wellness of the body. So we have our trainer that's on board that deals with specific conditions, deals with us in the pregnancy period as well. So we're kind of trying to have everything covered. If we don't have
It's a
everybody,
complete package.
Yeah, she's leaving no stones
unturned.
unturned.
And if we don't have it in office, we definitely have robust referral streams. So anything you need, we can provide for you there.
I love it. I'm ready to make an appointment.
I feel like a birthday package.
Don't love it.
Yes.
Girl.
Yes.
Like a birthday gift.
Gift certificates, we have everything.
See, lots of everything. Or can we make an appointment? How can viewers find you?
So we make it easy. So you can go chariswomenswellness.com, but I think more people are social media inclined. So at Charis Women's Wellness. And Charis is CHARIS. When you go on our web our social media pages, not only will you get information overload on all the things that are facing our population, the breast cancer, the cervical cancer, the fibroids, the PCOS, anything you want. And we're also very receptive. You can let us know what you want to hear about and we address it. But also, we give you full autonomy to do your own booking. We have a book now button. You just click on it, you pick what day, what time, you make it happen, and if something pops up, you can reschedule on your own.
I love that.
I think it needs to be convenient.
It should
be.
be.
If we don't have a population that is big on health-seeking behavior, let us try and meet them, if not halfway, three-quarters.
Make it as easy as possible. Right, love it.
I don't think we should end this segment. It would just go on and on and on. There's so much to talk about. We certainly learned a lot. It was really exciting. It was a pleasure having you. But before we go, if there are any viewers who still maybe a little anxious, maybe they have the risk factors that you mentioned, and they really should have gone to get a mammogram already, maybe they've touched 40 and should start that annual process, is there anything you'd like to say to them?
All right, so for me, I just want to empower you. Information is everything. Because knowing or not knowing doesn't change the fate of being destined to having breast cancer or not. But it definitely can change your outcome. If you catch it early at stage 0 or 1, your survival rate is 98%. If you check it at stage 2, where it would just pass a little, metastasize a little bit, probably to some surrounding tissue or to lymph nodes, 93 if you catch it early.
Wow.
But if it goes and starts spreading all over the body because you chose ignorance over getting the information that you need to make good health choices, your mortality rate, which is your 5-year survival rate, drops down to 22%.
Wow.
So do something for yourself. Don't say if I don't know. Don't say someone gonna take me out anyway. Don't say all of that. That is fear. That is a lie. We have gone so leaps and bounds
We're past that.
in medical technology now. Breast cancer is something we know. We know it very well. We know it's prevalent in our population. You do your part. And if you partner up with your doctor, you give yourself your best chance.
Love it.
That is
I think that's a good way to end it.
right.
Thank you so much. It was
Thanks
a pleasure.
for having me.
It was
ladies.
a pleasure.
God bless.
I learned a lot.
Yes.
At this point in time, it is information over ignorance, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Hashtag.
Yeah.
No, my favorite hashtag was breast sandwich.
Breast sandwich.
But thank you so much, Dr. Lawrence. It was a pleasure.
Welcome to Charis Women's Wellness and Maternity Care Center. I'm Dr. Sara Lawrence, and along with my team, we are committed to women's health and wellness. We can't wait to serve you with goodness, grace, and God's love.
That's the end of the show.
Yes, we have come to the end of the show.
We had a great time. We learned a lot.
Indeed, indeed.
And we hope you guys learned a lot too. And we hope you're empowered to go out and get a mammogram if you need to, go see your gynecologist, and continue to do your routine self-examination.
Big thanks to Dr. Sara Lawrence Lewis from the
Charis Women's Wellness and Maternity Center.
All right.
We had a great time.
Indeed.
Of course, we're going to share lots of behind the scenes on our social media page.
Oh, no.
So be sure to follow us at MegaMart Jamaica on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, see you next time.